Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's going on?
Hey, have you heard of Unidragon?
Are you serious? Of course I know who Unidragon is. That's the puzzle dude.
The true wooden puzzle company that you can get for all of your holiday shopping.
Get the owl.
If you could have one puzzle underneath the tree for Christmas or the holiday season, what would it be, Mike?
It would be a Unidragon puzzle.
That's right. And which Unidragon puzzle would it be for your household?
The owl.
Only get your true puzzle from Unidragon.com. They're the best, and they're the world's leader in wooden puzzles. Tech Time listeners, use promo code DRAGONTECH. Again, that's DRAGONTECH for a 10% discount code. Now's the time to go to Unidragon.com. Again, that's Unidragon.com. Don't be fooled by other imitation puzzle makers. Only get your true puzzle from Unidragon.com. They're the best, and they're the world's leader in wooden puzzles. They're no longer 3 sizes, Mike. Guess how many there are now?
They're 4 sizes.
That's right. They're 4 sizes. Make sure to visit techtimeradio.com/sponsors and click on the Order Now button to go directly to Unidragon. Our #1 sponsor says thank you. Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's going on?
Do you know the average person can sweat 463 pints per year?
Oh, that's gross. But I've totally been there, wiping my sweaty palms on my pants before shaking hands.
I can remember standing in front of a group of people about to do a large presentation and looking down and seeing those sweaty pits. Man, that is the worst.
Did you know that deodorants do nothing for sweat control? It's like putting a scented candle in your pits. And we just don't sweat under the arms.
That's right. We don't. We sweat all over. Yeah, that's what's cool about Carpe. They have not only created a revolutionary underarm antiperspirant, a lotion loaded with sweat control, Carpe also has a full line of sweat care for everywhere.
Founded by 2 guys who had sweaty palms their whole lives, Carpe was created with dermatologists and people actually diagnosed as excessive sweaters. So you know it works. Whether you want to avoid a sweaty brow, underarm stains, smelly feet, below the belt sweat, Carpe has a solution.
They sure do. And they have a full no question asked money back guarantee for the first 60 days. Not 30 days, but 60 days. Find their full line at mycarpe.com.
That's mycarpe.com, mycarpe.com. And for a limited time, use the code TechTime to save 15% on your first order. From now on, we will only sweat in the gym.
Life can get sweaty, but Carpe keeps you dry. Visit them at mycarpe.com.
Coming to you from the shores of the Pacific Northwest, keeping you up to date on technology while enjoying a little whiskey on the side, with leading-edge topics, along with special guests, to navigate technology in a segmented, stylized radio program. The information that will make you go, Pull up a seat, raise a glass with our hosts as we spend the next hour talking about technology for the common person. Welcome to Tech Time Radio with Nathan Mumm.
Welcome to Tech Time Radio with Nathan Mumm, the show that makes you go, Technology news of the week. The show for the everyday common person with insightful segments on subjects weeks ahead of the mainstream media. I don't know if you've noticed, but I am not Nathan Mumm. I'm Gwen Way, and welcome to our show. As I'm sure most of you know already, we live stream in studio on Saturdays from 4 to 6 p.m. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and from our home radio station here at KKNW, 1150 a.m. If you're not listening to us Saturdays, 4 to 6, then you're listening to a repeat. I think we can just leave it with that.
I was going to say, am I supposed to say something like Mike
Or do
does?
you want me to say it over here instead?
No,
Okay.
I think we're good. I think we're good. We have faith in our listeners. So Tech Time is a weekly 2-hour technology show that talks about current technology in a simple format without having to geek out. And where do you go for all your Tech Time information? Say it along with me, folks. www.techtimeradio.com. You can watch the stream live, sign up for our newsletter, listen and watch archives, purchase merchandise, our NFTs, and even ask us technology questions that we could talk about on the show. Now is the time to engage us on Twitch TV /TechTime Show and interact with our stream or send us a tweet at #TechTime. You can also call us at 425-373-5527 or 1-888-298-KKNW. That's 1-888-298-5569, and be part of the show. Okay, let's get started.
Now on today's show.
Okay, today on Tech Time with Nathan Mumm, or not Nathan Mumm as the case may be, Microsoft Edge is in trouble with nasty messages to buy now, pay later scheme. Square changes its name to Block. Twitter removes 3,400 accounts used in government propaganda campaigns. And living robots made in a lab have found a new way to self-replicate. Finally, we have our pick of the day whiskey tastings. Oh, you don't want to miss this one, folks. And Marc's Mumbles, brought to us by StoriCoffee. All of this on hour one of our 2-hour show. On the second hour, we have a unique in-studio gadgets and gear segment, since I'm here anyway. We have brought back a fan favorite, as we will have 2 truths and a lie.
Woohoo!
But most importantly, we have our letter segment, as we read Nathan's email, because Nathan honestly gets the best spam.
He does.
Finally, we have This Week in Technology segment and a few breaking news articles we might bring up along the way. So once again, welcome to Tech Time Radio with Nathan Mumm, the show that makes you go, Technology news for the week of December 4th through the 10th, 2021. And now, let's introduce not Mike Gourdet. I'd like to welcome Marc Gregoire to the show.
Thank you.
All right. We are going to start out, as always, the show with the loaded question of the week, brought to you by Elderberry Boost. Get your Elderberry Boost today at elderberry-boost.com. And since we are here because Mike is getting married and Nathan is the best man, I thought we might start off with a question that kind of fits in with that.
Okay.
So the question for this hour is, where is a great place to host a wedding?
Where is a great place to host a wedding? Well, I think both of us are going to answer. My guess is where we actually got married independently.
Right.
So I got married at a winery.
Oh, very nice.
And I think that's a great location. It's beautiful. It's got great food. And the alcohol's flowing.
I mean, you can't say no to that.
Not at all. Now, if it was just myself getting married to myself, which I know doesn't happen, then that'd probably be someplace with a mariachi band, a taco truck.
I like it.
Otherwise, I'm saying winery. What about you, Gwen?
Well, as you know, I got married at the Woodland Park Zoo here in Seattle.
Right.
And that was magnificent. Not only did we have fun animals doing animal things, up to and including a bear scratching his back on a tree.
Classic.
It was amazing. But it also was just a beautiful ambiance. It gave everybody time to just kind of kick back and enjoy themselves. So that would be my answer.
I think those are 2 good answers.
Yeah. All right. And as always, we have our whiskey tastings during the commercials to see if our selected whiskey gets 0, 1, or 2 thumbs up.
I haven't even tasted it yet. We haven't tasted it yet.
No, we have not tasted it yet.
But Nathan picked it for us, so I'm thinking I know where my thumb's going.
Yeah, we're already terrified, Nathan, just so you know. But yeah, make sure to listen all the way through to pick up a few interesting facts that will make you go, Now let's go ahead and get our episode started with our first segment, the top stories, of course. This brings you to the top technology stories everyone will be talking about for weeks to come within the first 5 minutes of the show.
What's happening in the world of technology? This is our top stories in the first 5 minutes.
All right. Welcome to Top Stories in the first 5 minutes of the show. Let's start off with story number 1. FTC is not happy with NVIDIA.
Nope.
So the FTC has actually sued to block NVIDIA from buying the British chip maker ARM. This is basically because it would give it an unfair advantage in a vertical or potential vertical monopoly.
That's right.
United States Federal Trade Commission said the deal would give it control over computing technology that competitors rely on, and sued to block the planned $75 billion acquisition.
That's right. Did you hear this is the biggest chip acquisition on the books ever?
Wow. I mean, that's a lot of money.
It is.
That's a B
That's
with
assuming it goes through, though. It may not go through.
That is true, especially not with the FTC blocking it.
I'm hoping it doesn't go through, actually, myself, because when they talked about the vertical market, do you know who the biggest competitor would hit?
No, who is it?
AMD.
Oh.
And the reason why is the chips made by ARM is in their Samsung deal. So they use them for chips to build for Samsung.
Oh, interesting.
So NVIDIA is a direct competitor to AMD, and then they would own the chips that AMD depends on. And so that either the price would jack up or AMD would have to look elsewhere, which would just throw chaos.
That would just be ugly. Well, let's see if this is a good move for NVIDIA or not. We've got a local reporter reporting on this story. David, if you could please roll the audio.
In many ways, Mandy, people had anticipated the UK fighting against this, particularly as ARM is strategic to them in some extent. But it's interesting that they've been working so closely with the FTC as well.
Well, so right now, NVIDIA really is big in gaming, and they've been expanding on the AI side. And ARM, what it allows them to do is really expand their presence when it comes to all these different end markets and go beyond gaming and to an extent data center, which is relatively fast-growing segment, but still kind of small for them when you compare, the history of the company. ARM really gives them that broad exposure of different end markets.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Sounds like a nice one-sided view.
Exactly.
It is. It would be great for NVIDIA. Absolutely. But I don't know if it's great for the market.
For everybody else. Yeah. One thing that I did find interesting is that NVIDIA had actually proposed this deal back in September of 2020. And it took the FTC this long to actually step up and do something about it.
Yeah, I wonder why. Maybe they're busy with something else.
Maybe.
All right. We ready for number 2?
We are ready for number 2.
Oh, my goodness. This is going to get my blood boiling. I got a few here. So Microsoft Edge now is bashing Google Chrome when you download it.
Oh.
So Microsoft Edge is now displaying in-browser alerts that discourage users from downloading Google Chrome by bashing the popular browser. So now when you go visit the Chrome page, if you're using Edge, you'll see a notification that's going to try and convince you not to change.
Oh, they'd have to try really hard for that one.
Now, for the most part, these in-browser notifications bashing Chrome by insulating Edge is more secure browser. So they're trying to say they're more secure. Chrome is outdated and boring. Chrome is slower and less reliable. You can save more money using Edge.
Wow.
They're just throwing out all these baloney statements. Oh, did I say that? I mean, I got all these other things that they're saying. It's just like blows my mind.
That is just crazy. And the browser wars were pretty hot early on. It's funny that Microsoft is trying to bring this back up.
Yep. So while users are rightfully annoyed, of course, by these pop-up ads and the snippet, but it's important to remember that Google performs similar behaviors, but not as direct as Microsoft Edge. They're more, calm about it.
Right. Not less in your face.
Yep. And now Microsoft, what they're trying to say is, hey, look, we're using the same underlining as Chrome, that both of are running on the Chromium browser. So it's the same performance and security, but you're better with us. But I don't know why they don't add that Microsoft adds all their bloatware and all their other stuff in there.
Exactly. Which slows it all down. So I think I'm going to stick with Chrome.
Me too. So now, my parents even use Chrome.
Oh, see, now there you go.
There's only one person I know that regularly uses Chrome.
Nathan?
Yes.
Yeah, Nathan is Microsoft through and through.
Now, he claims it's not because it's a better browser, because he gets some little points and it makes some money on the side. You know how cheap Nathan is.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason for using it. But
I don't know.
Not the way to go.
No, definitely not. Let's go on to story number 3.
All right.
Twitter bans sharing of private people's photos and videos without consent. You would think that this would be common sense, but Twitter actually said this past week that users will no longer be able to share private media such as photos and videos of another person without their permission. So good job stepping up. We appreciate it. Twitter actually said in a blog post, sharing personal media, such as images or videos, can potentially violate a person's privacy and may lead to emotional or physical harm.
So I think this is a great idea.
Yeah.
I think it's all about context. You know, a lot of people say, why are you blocking me? Why are you doing this? But it's about context of what is being shown and do they have the right to show it. Where I start wondering where we're going, though, is the evaluation of it. Who's evaluating it? And then you start coming into, you know, that fine gray area of, is it right? Is it not right?
Yeah. Well, and how can you prove that you've gotten somebody's permission to post?
I think what they're just going to do is probably going to be that backwards approach where you just post things and then if somebody complains then
they take it down.
They take it down because they haven't got the approval.
That makes sense. At
least it's moving in the right direction because I do know people were posting things they shouldn't be posting for people that they shouldn't, and a lot of it was happening,
It's just a bad move.
Yeah.
It gets, and there's been a lot of legislature about it recently too. So I'm not entirely surprised that they have stepped up with this.
That's great. All right, now we go from a kind of a positive story to, once again, my Microsoft Edge.
Oh,
So now they're allowing you to pay later scheme.
Wow.
So they're under fire right now from angry users because they've announced plans to build in a buy now, pay later function in the web browser.
So Microsoft is now a credit company.
Well, they're claiming no, they're not handling. They're just they're making that connection to people that can do this for you. So they're basically acting as a broker, is the way they put it.
Interesting.
They're saying the scheme allows buyers to divide payments into smaller chunks over time, but that allows people to get into risk of debt.
Oh, yeah. And you have to be careful with that. It adds up so quickly.
Yeah. Now, what is hilarious? I think this is hilarious. So thanks to the user-based tags, and you can tag different blogs, before they put the official announcement out, they had an unofficial announcement. People were able to put tags to it. So when the official announcement came out, the blog now features those tags. And the tags are hashtag poor leadership, garbage, embarrassment, exploitive.
Wow.
All I'm going to say is thank you for those individuals that did that.
Agreed.
Yeah. Microsoft's claiming they're not collecting any fees. They're just trying to help people out. Once again, I use that word baloney.
Yeah. That's a good word for it. Well, I think our time is up. We got through 4 of the top 5 stories, so that's pretty good. If you want to learn more about any of these, please visit us online at techtimeradio.com and click on our episode selection or blog to get even more details on these stories and features. Now, it's time to get ready for our whiskey tasting at the break, but up next, we have our own What We Found on the Web segment you will not want to miss. You're listening to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm, but not Nathan Mumm. Join us after the break.
Hi, I'm Nathan Mumm, host of Tech Time Radio with Nathan Mumm on KKNW. Tech Time Radio's live show is Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m., and you can always check us on the web at techtimeradio.com. Our segmented stylized radio gives you the breaking news before it hits mainstream media. Join myself and Mike Corday as we'll make you laugh.
That's good. So, Hooked on Phonics worked for you, didn't it?
It did, just a little bit.
And learning something new in technology. Join us Saturdays 4 to 6 p.m. and Thursdays from 6 to 7 a.m. The technology show for the everyday common person.
Hi, this is Lisa Downs, host of Reigniting You, the show that takes a positive, forward-looking approach to mid to late career transitions for Gen Xers and Boomers every Wednesday afternoon at 3 o'clock Pacific. Whether you're looking to stay in the traditional workforce, do your own thing, or retire or semi-retire, Reigniting You is your source for career transition advice, inspiration, and insight for what's next in your career and life. Join me Wednesdays at 3 o'clock to get re-energized, recharged, and reignited.
Welcome back to Tech Time Radio with Nathan Mumm. We just had our first whiskey tasting.
Burning.
Oh, yeah. No. So we sampled our whiskey during the show. We have chosen Canadian Club, or rather Canadian Club 1958.
1858.
1858 was chosen for us. Wow.
Little history. How about that? Let's go to that before we have to describe what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
So it was featured in a TV show.
Really?
Yeah, I never watched the show, but I'm familiar with the show, so that tells you how big the show was.
Okay.
Madman. So Don Draper, this was one of them that he used to drink. Don't know why, but it was.
I mean, he was pretty much drunk all the time, so maybe after you reach a certain limit, it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I'm not positive on the 1858. That's just before the Civil War. I know it became big in the Civil War in the U.S. It was Canadian whiskey, and that came down because of some of the Prohibition and with the Civil War, and then later with Prohibition is why it came across the border.
I'm not going to say what my vote is
Me neither.
yet, but as much as I would love to visit Canada, I think I may have to put it off a little bit.
Yeah. I'll just talk about the aroma real quick.
Oh, yeah, please.
Strong nail polish.
I could see that. I was thinking turpentine, but
Turpentine's a good description. So that's the nose, everybody.
Yeah. So you're
boring
you're on
bottle,
your way.
horrible label,
and
we'll get
twist top.
And a twist top. We'll get to the tasting at the next segment.
I think that sounds good.
All right.
So we're about to continue the show with what we found on the web. And we have some interesting stories from Twitter to the U.S. government buying things that are federally banned. Let's report on what's happening as we start the next segment.
What we found on the web.
Okay. So first up, Twitter has removed 3,400 accounts used in government propaganda campaigns.
Yep.
They were connected to the governments of 6 different countries. Mexico, Tanzania, Uganda, Venezuela, and for the 2 that will surprise nobody, China and Russia.
Yeah. The one that surprised me on that list was Mexico.
Yeah, you don't think about Mexico.
I did not. When I saw
No.
that list, that's the one that was like, Mexico?
It makes no sense. Obviously, China is the one that had the largest number with more than 2,000 fake accounts. And most of them were actually used to distribute what I'm going to call false narratives about from the Chinese Communist Party on the treatment of the Uyghur population in Xinjiang.
Did you see which one had the least amount?
I did not.
You want to guess?
I'm going to say Mexico.
No.
Really?
What's the least likely one to have the least after China?
Russia?
Russia.
Wow.
I know. That surprised me too.
Well, there we go then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Twitter said the details about the campaigns and associated accounts have been shared with the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, Cazadores de Fake News, which I love the name of that, and the Stanford Internet Observatory, so that we can keep a closer eye on that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right now, 3,465 accounts have been removed, but the company didn't share any specific details on them beyond what we've already discussed.
Yeah, not much, but it still is a positive direction, in my opinion. But
definitely.
It goes back to your earlier segment when you were talking about Twitter, and it was like, yes, this is a positive thing. Or they're doing propaganda. It was fake accounts upholding dictators. But once again, it comes down to context and who is doing that evaluation.
Exactly.
And that's something that I think we haven't quite figured out in the technology world yet.
The winners write the history, and technology just seems to be kind of continuing that.
So, right direction, we just have to be careful.
Definitely. I think we're making good moves. We just need to kind of keep on making those good moves. All right. And a second story on our good friends in China. The U.S. government agencies have bought Chinese surveillance tech despite a federal ban.
This one gets.
It's rough.
It is.
So at least 3 U.S. federal agencies, including the military, Department of Defense, come on, we're watching you.
That's right.
Have purchased China-made video surveillance equipment banned from use in the federal government. Just about everybody is blaming the group, the GSA, General Services Administration, for it, because the technology stayed on their list of acceptable purchases even after the ban.
Somebody's not updating the list.
Exactly.
You pass a law, but nobody does any work.
It's very important to update lists. I think we've all realized this. Hopefully the government will now, too.
Yeah. It got a little darker, though.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't just buying from China, which we're not supposed to buy from China because there could be the issues of security and those rights.
Right.
But it was the companies they were buying for is why they got banned.
Right. So Dahua?
That's how I would say it.
Okay. Dahua was one of the main companies, and it was restricted in 2019. So 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly, again, going back to their treatment of the Uyghur.
Yep. Human rights violations.
Yeah.
Ethnic cleansing issues.
Slave labor, just a lot of horrible things. Beijing actually relies on Dahua, and I apologize to anybody out there. Please write in, comment on Twitch, whatever. Let me know how this is actually pronounced. But Beijing actually relies on them to provide all of the surveillance equipment that they use to watch the Uyghur population and control them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pretty ugly situation all around. And the fact that we're actually funding it just kind of makes us, it just makes me feel a little bit of dirty, honestly.
Yeah, it's not besides not being the right thing to do, it's we did the wrong thing by not cleaning things up. And this is something that, me being an old man, I have to give kudos to the younger generation is they're very conscious of where their money goes.
Definitely.
And not supporting those that are abusing others, not abusing human rights, not treating fairly.
Yeah.
And it's something that we have to be aware of.
It's really nice that we do have a population at this time that is focused on that and kind of pulling the rest of us along with it. I hate using the word woke because I think it's kind of derogatory at this point. But honestly, the more that people speak about outrages like this, the more likely we are to do something to stop them.
Right. And then that's where we start doubting things. Did they really forget to take it off the list? Did they really not get around to it? Or is it more that it was more convenient not to do it? And it's easier to do this. And so by now buying things that are not secure, by buying things upholding the wrong regime to be easy for us, that's a problem.
Exactly. It's the 21st century. We can't just kind of throw money away like that anymore.
No, that is definitely a problem. So both these, so we had one uplifting story.
Yeah, we did, where Twitter is stepping up. We like that.
Yeah, and then we had one depressing story. So normally I would reach for another drink, but we'll be drinking during the break again. So I don't think I need to jump that quickly to it.
No. We can go a little more slowly with this particular one.
I think we still have a couple minutes, right, David? What I would like to do, though, since we didn't really do it at the top of hour, and I know you were sitting in for Nathan, Gwen.
Right.
I would like you to do more of an introduction to yourself. I know people knew you as a tech and gadgets person, but there's a lot more to you.
That's true. I do have fun with the Gadgets and Gear segment once a month. I'm also one of the producers on the show. So even if I'm not here on the radio itself, you can know that some of the stories that are being brought in are things that I've dug up and found.
And she's always watching.
That is true. I'm always watching. If you have been on twitch.tv/TechTime, you know that I am a mod in the chat and I'm almost always in there. So I'm watching you.
And your day job?
My day job is actually with a cybersecurity startup.
There we go.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I enjoy myself very much. We are a company that is based here in Seattle, but about 2/3 of our employees are actually up in Toronto. So right now I'm getting to do some fun stuff with the new regulations up there. They updated the government requirements for working with the government, CMMC 2.0 now. So we're doing a lot of that at the end of the year to make sure that we're ready for 2022. And one of the coolest things, one of our clients is the Canadian Olympic Committee.
Oh, go Canada.
Go Canada, yeah.
Go Canadian Club.
I mean, I'm just tying it full circle here. Full circle.
That's hilarious.
So, yeah, I've introduced myself. You've been introduced as a super fan and brought Nathan and Mike some really nice whiskeys.
I did. So I guess I should tell you a little of the background of that. So, Marc Gregoire, I'm Chief Information Officer over at Copiers Northwest. So when everybody hears Nathan talking about Copiers or Copiers Northwest, that's where it's from. Nathan used to be one of my employees.
Yep.
And so whenever he bags on it, he knows I'm listening. He knows the reason he's doing that is because I'm listening. And that's his way of poking fun at me.
I was going to say, I think that's how Nathan shows love.
It is. It is. So Nathan loved working there. We had a great time. And Gwen, you used to work.
I did. That's how we met.
That is.
Nathan came down to Austin, Texas, said, okay, you're cool, and brought me up here.
Yep, Nathan hired you. I hired Nathan. Nathan hired you.
Exactly.
And then near the end, you were working for me.
I worked for you.
You moved over to my department. So we're all one big happy family here.
Exactly, which is really nice. So it's good that we're getting the chance to get together again.
It is.
Yeah, even if Nathan destroyed all of the goodwill that you had built up with bringing them.
Well,
nice
we all know
whiskeys.
where the good stuff actually is today, so that's why.
That is true. I'm pretty sure that Mike has a good spread somewhere. I've been told that there is no alcohol at the wedding itself.
What? At the reception even?
At the reception even.
Oh, I'm glad we're not knee deep in the whiskey because I'd have some comments on that.
Choices were made and sacrifices were necessary. And, as long as Mike and his new bride are happy, that's all that matters.
Well, everybody has their personal choice.
Yes. All right. So I think we are good with this then.
I think it's time for our break.
But when we return, we have a robot story of replication that is going to blow your mind. Tech Time wish list with a few items to get on your savings now. I am not Nathan Mumm with Tech Time Radio, along with Marc Gregoire and David. Please join us after the break.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's going on?
Hey, have you heard of Unidragon?
Are you serious? Of course I know who Unidragon is. That's the puzzle dude.
The true wooden puzzle company that you can get for all of your holiday shopping.
Get the owl.
If you could have one puzzle underneath the tree for Christmas or the holiday season, what would it be, Mike?
It would be a Unidragon puzzle.
That's right. And which Unidragon puzzle would it be for your household?
The owl.
Only get your true puzzle from Unidragon.com. They're the best, and they're the world's leader in wooden puzzles. Tech Time listeners, use promo code DRAGONTECH. Again, that's DRAGONTECH for a 10% discount code. Now's the time to go to Unidragon.com. Again, that's Unidragon.com. Don't be fooled by other imitation puzzle makers. Only get your true puzzle from Unidragon.com. They're the best, and they're the world's leader in wooden puzzles. They're no longer 3 sizes, Mike. Guess how many there are now?
They're 4 sizes.
That's right. They're 4 sizes. Make sure to visit techtimeradio.com/sponsors and click on the Order Now button to go directly to Unidragon. Our #1 sponsor says thank you.
Welcome back to Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. I am not Nathan Mumm. I am Gwen Way. So Marc, has the whiskey gotten any better?
It is not.
I would agree.
It's not.
I would agree.
So I looked it up beforehand, and we're supposed to get brown sugar with a little orange, a little sweetness, a little pepper spice, tinge of bitterness. I'm not getting any of that. I'm just getting water mixed with yuckiness.
Exactly. No, it's...
I don't know the technical whiskey terms to describe it.
It's terrible. That's what it is. Terrible.
And a burn, a nice burn.
It's got a definite burn. I think if it was colder outside, we might be a little more comfortable with it. No, what am I saying? It's still awful. All right.
It's a little bit of toothpaste, a little minty toothpaste in the end.
I could see that.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, just to let you know what's in it, it's a rye Rye forward, malted rye, barley, and corn.
Okay.
Don't taste any of that, but
I don't either. It does kind of continue I'm not a huge fan of rye, but
don't judge rye by this. Please.
Okay. Well, now that we've got the drinks out of the way, we get to talk about robots taking over the world.
Oh,
and
I love this.
If they get rid of this, then I am definitely welcoming our robot overlords. Let's get ready to start our next segment.
Welcome to Technology Insider. We get the information directly from the source.
Okay. So I think we are going to kind of go in reverse of the last segment where we started out happy and went sad. We're going to start sad and go happy so we can leave everybody on a high note for the first hour.
Matches that whiskey. It's still burning.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So in story number 1, the U.S. rejects killer robots agreement and proposes a code of conduct.
I'm disgusted with this. Keep going.
It's terrible. Speaking at a meeting in Geneva focused on finding common ground on the use of such so-called lethal autonomous weapons, a U.S. official balked at the idea of regulating their use through a legally binding instrument.
You know what that means, why they don't want to do it.
Because they want to use them.
Exactly.
I
Keep
mean,
going.
Yeah. So rejecting calls for a binding agreement regulating or banning the use of weapons, Washington instead said maybe we need to just have a code of conduct. We'll promise not to use them. You can trust us.
It gets even better than that. Is it just any kind of code of conduct?
Oh, yeah. Non-binding.
Yes.
Code of conduct.
What? I got to be careful of my words so we don't hit a mute button here. What?
Yeah,
I can't think of the words.
Terrible.
What the heck? Mother of pearl.
Mother of pearl. That's a good one.
What is a non-binding code of conduct?
We promise to not do this, but if we do, our bad.
Not even our bad. It's oops.
Yeah. No, it's horrible. So the meeting saw governmental experts preparing for high-level talks at a review conference on the Convention of Certain Conventional Weapons. That's a mouthful. It's coming up December 13th through the 17th. And Josh Dorison, who is a U.S. official, said, in our view, the best way to make progress, doesn't say what kind of progress, but progress, would be through the development of a non-binding code of conduct.
I'm embarrassed of our government for this.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get political, but I'm very disappointed in the current administration. This is something I would have expected from previous administration.
Yeah. But no, we're just kind of continuing on.
And I understand we have to protect our country and they don't want to be hamstrung, but this is the blind leading, not really the blind leading the blind. It's just, it's
the non-ethical leading the non-ethical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Activists in a number of countries have, of course, called for an all-out ban on any weapons.
Why are we always last? Why are we like the least in everything? The worst in healthcare, the worst in I don't even get into school shootings. Our kids can't even go to school and they're scared.
Exactly. It's
healthcare. I mean,
I'm not entirely sure how we are a first world nation at this point, honestly.
No.
Yeah. So in November of 2018, so 3 years ago, the UN chief Antonio Guterres called for the ban. But countries can't even agree on whether there's a need to regulate the weapons or not, which makes no sense.
Yeah, what they're looking for is lethal force without a human overseeing the process. That's really what we're trying to ban. Not so much robots going out and killing people, just they want a human to check it.
Exactly.
And this is paramount for protection. This reminds me, did you ever watch The Office?
I did.
Okay, the American version. I watched both.
Right.
The UK, I loved them both. Do you remember that part where Michael Scott's driving and he's following the GPS and he drives into a lake?
The lake? Yes.
This is what happens when you don't have human over. When you trust blindly in the robots, you're going to end up in the lake or even worse.
Exactly.
And there's so many examples out there of where things could have gone badly wrong with technology.
Yeah.
But a human caught it in time and just put that in place.
And look at all of the people who are trusting Teslas to drive themselves and crashing.
Yeah.
Technology is not at that point yet, and I hope it never will be, where we can just turn it over. As soon as we do that, we get Judgment Day and Terminator movies. And
I know. If we have missiles coming from, let's just say Russia, because that's the cliche.
Yeah.
Coming from Russia, I want a human to make a quick phone call first before we shoot missiles off.
Exactly. Is this a mistake?
Yes. Is it real? Are they really? Or is it a computer error? Because we see we all have laptops or computers or phones. We all have seen computer errors.
Exactly.
That drives me crazy.
And Dorison is insisting that the Code of Conduct would help states promote responsible behavior in compliance with international law. But honestly, have we ever seen that work? No. No, we have not.
No.
So yeah, let's go on to the happy story. And this is actually a story that you found during our meeting.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about the living robots.
Living robots. I love this. So this is living robots that they made in a lab. They have found a new way to self-replicate.
That is incredible.
This reminds me of another TV show. Now, Nathan, okay, I'm going to go on a tangent.
Okay.
Nathan talks about Star Trek sometimes.
Yes.
But he calls it Star Trek. And
every
it
time.
Drives me crazy.
Yep.
Star Trek, Nathan. When you listen to the rebroadcast, it's Trek, not track. All right. So the episodes that I'm referring to is Wesley Crusher.
Oh, yeah.
With his nanites.
Nanites.
Yes.
That got into the engines and
yes.
Yeah.
But then they turned out beautiful in the end.
They
and
did.
Nice. And this is what this story is. So scientists have said they've never witnessed this type of replication in organic robots. So they're organic robots. So they're not just hardware technology.
Okay.
Take a guess what the organicness is.
What is it?
Frog cells.
Oh, so we're going full Jurassic Park.
Sure. Yes. Jurassic Park all the way.
I love it.
Now, I think the scientists thought of that when they're doing this, because they had a big blog, a big segment on here saying, hey, it doesn't matter that there's frog cells in there. We can stop them from replicating.
Well, clearly it did not work.
No, it didn't. So these are just simple programmable organisms that resemble like little stem cells, like in a petri dish.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can think about this like using the different cells as building blocks to make Legos. And they just kind of put these different cells together to create like a little organic robot.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah, so they took it from a frog. It's from an African clawed frog. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And they have these tiny hair-like structures that propel them. And the scientists remodify them into a spiral, because the spiral is a better shape for what they're really looking for them to go is like cancer cells or bad cells in our body, and kind of herd them together and then kill them. And they found, instead of just the regular little flipper in the back, if there was a little spiral, that actually herded cells better.
Oh, interesting.
But it gets freakier.
Okay.
When they replicate, they don't replicate as they designed them with the special spiral.
Mm-hmm.
They replicate as they originally were created, with just the straight
tail.
Tail.
So they're like, nah. We get the new design, but we like the old school better.
That's right.
That is incredible.
I know. It was so exciting. So this is why it's positive, is because what they can go out and do is, really for the cancer research or a lot of other medicine things. And it's kind of just like the nanites in Star Trek, is they were going and trying to find specific cells and then just kill those cells.
Oh, wow. I mean, I hate to say what a world we live in, but that is absolutely incredible.
Yep. So one more thing I wanted to mention on that. So when we think about how long it took life to evolve on Earth, it's a very long story. But here in the Petri dish, they completed a new form and replicated this organism.
That's, I am going to, after the first story, I'm going to go back and say I am still welcoming our robot overlords if they come in that form.
Yeah. And then the scientists said after discovering this new life form of self-replication, it shows that maybe life is more expected than unexpected. And that ties in so well to your Jurassic Park.
It does.
Life always finds a way. It's amazing.
Yeah. No, that is absolutely incredible. And excellent news. So that ends our segment, Technology Insider. Robots will one day take over the world. And when they do, they will burn this. So when we return, we'll have Marc's Mumbles, brought to us by StoriCoffee, and the pick of the day. This has been a great hour, and we're just about halfway through the show. We'll see you after the break. From all of us at Tech Time, we hope you enjoy a little whiskey on the side during this commercial break.
Hey, Mike.
What?
Have you heard of elderberry?
Only in reference to a Monty Python movie.
Well, let me tell you, Elderberry Boost. Again, that's elderberry-boost.com.
Elderberry Boost.
Yes, Mike, that's Elderberry Boost. You can choose organic Elderberry Boost, that 8-ounce size. That's available on sale right now at $11.99. But you're listening here right now on Tech Time Radio, so you need to go to Elderberry. That's ELDERBERRY-boost.com and get some today.
Elderberry Boost.
Elderberry is an all-natural organic immune system booster and antiviral. Elderberry is known to actively fight against viruses, including colds and the flu. It also works as a natural remedy for allergies, cancer, digestion, heart disease, high cholesterol, headache, toothache, weight loss, and reduced inflammation.
It's a natural and healthy diuretic and has many antiviral properties. While it is famous for fighting the flu, it is effective for any illness.
Elderberry Boost was created to provide a quality organic elderberry to their customers. After searching years ago for a perfect elderberry syrup, none could be found, so they essentially created their own homemade recipe.
If you would like to get 15% off your first order of Elderberry Boost, just put in the discount code TechTime at checkout.
Again, that's elderberry-boost.com.
Elderberry Boost.
You go, hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's going on?
Hey, have you ever heard of Unidragon.com?
Have I ever heard of Unidragon.com?
Yes, Unidragon.com.
Why, yes, I have heard of Unidragon.com. That's the puzzle dude.
The puzzle dude, that's correct. He has tons of puzzles, and of course, he is the best and original wooden puzzles.
You have owls.
Guess what is the #1 best-selling puzzle?
The owl.
Do you think you had anything to do with that?
No, everybody loves owls.
Well, right now, you can get 40% off in stock if you go to unidragon.com/products/enchanting owl. You need to make sure you get yours today. Now, they also have 2 to 6 days for shipping and domestically ship within the United States. They have a great customer support. If you ever have any questions regarding your puzzle, except for how to put it together, you can email them at care@unidragon.com. If you want to get 10% off, you can use our code DRAGONTECH. Again, that's Dragon, DRAGON, Tech, TECH, for a 10% off discounts. Now, if you want the original, go to unidragon.com. Beware of fakes. Only get your wooden puzzles at unidragon.com.
Get them all.
And now for Marc's Mumbles! Brought to us by StoriCoffee. Visit StoriCoffee.com.
Guess I got to thank Nathan for that intro.
He has fun with them.
All right. Well, Gwen, I'm going to sound like a little bit like an old man again now. So if you give me a little time here. I'm going to talk about how technology may be the death of mankind.
Ooh.
It's almost like get off my lawn. So it's not by robots are going to come back and like Terminator and kill all of us. It's really technology, or some technology is killing our humanity. You know, it's the pace of technology is exponential now. If you were to go back in history, it was like thousands of years as new technology came through. And then it turned into centuries. And then it turned into decades. And now we go weeks and days at technology. And humans and our emotional state and our understanding of this technology is not keeping up anymore. And people are taking advantage of that. And then you have the aspect of our kids.
Yeah.
And introducing technology too young to kids because it's all around. And you're seeing the depression and anxiety just increase exponentially because, in my opinion, they're introduced to things too early. They're too much of the pressure with the technology that is bringing right to them. Yes, everything's so easy for us to get to, which is terrific. And being in COVID lockdown, being able to watch Netflix was terrific.
True.
But how many people talked about how problems that they had with the lockdown? And we had all this technology. And you go back to the Spanish flu where they had nothing, and that was not one of the outcomes after those 2 years of lockdown.
Yeah, that's very true.
So really, this technology is decreasing our emotional connection. Yes, FaceTime is great. Yes, Facebook has ways of connecting to seeing. Like I do that with my parents, or I do that with my daughter who lives up in Seattle, that we're here now, and I'm down in Portland, and that's terrific. And they can bring us together, but so much of this technology tears us apart and takes away our humanity.
Yeah. Well, I can remember as a child going outside and playing, with the neighborhood kids or with my friends, or just going out and running around and doing things. And you very rarely see that these days.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to just hand the kid an iPad and away they go.
Mm-hmm. We're sitting across from the desk, and we haven't even bumped fists and said hello, and said we're just talking through these technology mics.
Exactly.
So I'm going to leave us with a little quote from Simon and Garfunkel's 59th Street Bridge song.
Nice.
I'm going to try and sing it. My wife says not to, and I apologize to all you astute listeners out there ahead of time. Slow down. You move too fast. You've got to make the morning last, just kicking down the cobblestones, looking for fun and feeling groovy.
Love it.
Terrible singing, but the sentiment is there.
It was wonderful. So, yes, that was a great mumble. You didn't mumble at all, though.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
Slightly disappointed, but it was incredible. Now, unfortunately, we have to talk about our whiskey tasting.
Yes.
Pick of the day.
And now our pick of the day for our whiskey tastings. Let's see what bubbles to the top.
Can it not bubble to the top? I'm asking for a friend. So we've gotten through all of our segments. We've tasted a little whiskey. Perhaps a little too much whiskey.
Yes, too much whiskey. I'm going to strip now. I got to take off my shirt. Now, first of all, I'm going to apologize to all my relatives. So I'm French-Canadian.
Okay, yeah.
So I got to apologize to my Canadian relatives. And most of them are farmers.
Oh.
And they grow rye, and they grow other grains, and much of it is used in this. But this is terrible.
Yes.
I don't like
this is
Canadian
awful.
whiskey. I'm sorry. I'm a big thumbs down. I take off my shirt. I have my undershirt. It says, back to the bourbon.
Yes.
And I reach down. I'm reaching down into my bag. That's not good radio, but all right. And I have brought us a little secret bottle for us to drink in the second segment.
Ooh.
We are going to be drinking Stag Junior.
We get the good stuff.
This is the good stuff.
That was the backup plan, right?
Exactly.
This was the backup plan.
So, I also am going to give it a thumbs down. Nathan, that is horrible. But fortunately, Marc has saved the day for our second hour.
It's going to be delicious, the second hour.
It will be wonderful. All right. So, yeah, we are down. Canadian Club 1858. It's 80 proof. I don't think it's worth the 80 proof. The bottle was about $12 to $15. It is a screw top. If you really need a drink,
screw tops are not necessarily bad.
But in this case,
I have a screw top for you.
Oh,
this is for you. Weller Special Reserve.
Oh,
green
that's
label. Nathan and Mike had this on their show one time. I had brought them. They loved it. It is what this whiskey is not.
Oh.
This is for you and your husband.
Well, thank you
to
so
enjoy.
much.
It's a screw top, but it's delicious.
But it's a good one, huh?
Yes.
Oh, it's Kentucky Straight Bourbon. Yeah. No, I'm happy.
It's a wheat one.
Okay.
Nice and easy drinking. I was debating between that and what this bottle's label says. The one that I put the Stag Junior is really not this. It's a Four Roses Small Batch Select.
Oh.
Absolutely delicious. I was going to bring you one of those.
Mm-hmm.
But these are easy to find up in Seattle. That is very difficult to find.
Oh.
So I thought that's a better one to bring for you.
It's a treat. Thank you
there we
so
go.
much, Marc.
It's great to see you again. I haven't seen you. It's been like so many years. Last time was down in Portland.
Down in Portland,
when we went to NOLA and the Pearl, and we had crow nuts.
Exactly. And it was delicious.
Oh, that was a great time.
So we are out of time on our first hour, but we have a even better hour next. On the second hour, we have a unique in-studio gadgets and gear segment. We've brought back fan favorite Two Truths and a Lie, but most importantly, we have our letter segment where we read Nathan's email. All right, we will see you in just a few minutes as we continue Tech Time with Nathan Mumm. I am Gwen. We have Marc in the studio. Join us for hour 2 right after this break.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us on TechTime Radio. We hope that you had a chance to have that moment today in technology. The fun doesn't stop there. We recommend that you go to techtimeradio.com and join our fan list for the most important aspect of staying connected and winning some really great monthly prizes. We also have a few other ways to stay connected, including subscribing to our podcast on any podcast service, from Apple to Google and everything in between. We're also on YouTube, so check us out on youtube.com/techtimeradio, all one word. We hope you enjoyed the show as much as we did making it for you. From all of us at TechTime Radio, remember, Mumm's the word. Have a safe and fantastic week.